we are going to pull out some of these patterns in the background and put them on top of the body so that the body is sandwiched between both patterns. Now you might decide that you want to keep this background pattern this size. You might want to change it up and actually make some of them smaller or larger as you layer this over. So we are going to leave our top layer here as just our person and having the mask on there. Remember, you can go in and clean up any edges that you need to. You can adjust with levels, the lightness and darkness of this entire person, whatever it is you need to do to make sure that it matches the value and the saturation of your background. I might even go in and take out this lanyard. I don't know, maybe it's kind of nice. It kind of shows like what my day is really like. Those are my keys. Okay, so I'm going to go here to this background, and for a moment I'm going to turn off the view for my body just so I can see the pattern exactly. And I want to make sure that I'm on this background layer. So I'm going to go back in here into my quick selection, and I'm going to zoom in, and I want to take a few of these patterns and select them and put them on top. So I'm going to say, let's take this one here. And depending on the color of your background, this may happen quickly for you or it may not. So you might need to shrink down your tool and select a couple areas at a time. So I need to click on both the yellow and the red in order for this to work. And I'm going to take some of these little triangle shapes and some of these circles. And as you're selecting, just make that choice and see what happens. And I'm going to do one more, and then I will show you what we're going to do with it, and then you can decide how many you want. It's running just a tiny bit slow as I'm videoing this. Okay, so now I have selected 4 little circles and 2 of these sort of diamondy cross shapes. So I'm going to open this back up so I can see where I've selected those areas. I'm okay with that. Notice these ones in the background. You're not going to see those just because it's going to layer right on top of the background. You're not going to notice it. You will notice it though as it crosses over my body. So I am still on layer 1. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that. So Control C, because I have just these 2 selections. And then I'm going to paste that, Control Command V. And I'm going to drag this layer on top of my person. And now, as you can see, I am sandwiched between the background and my background on top. Now if I click on the Move tool, since these are in a different layer, I could move them around and I could add them over here. And now you're going to see those little circles that I selected are also going to match up. So as you're doing this, you want to just first make sure that wherever you place them, it matches exactly the pattern underneath it. So you might have to go in close. You can see a bunch of those. At any time, I can select more from this background layer, or my layer 1 copy, my pattern background here, and I can paste them again and then just move them around. This might be an interesting time to also play with the size of these. One thing I like about leaving them the same size is that it really helps that background flow, the pattern flow from behind the body in front of the body. I really think that's an interesting thing to do, but you might decide to change that. Like maybe you have larger ones like this. Let me just copy this whole layer, Command J, and let's do transform controls on that. And maybe I decide to shrink these down and then place these over here. And maybe it has almost like a spirally thing where it goes from behind me in front and then spirals up. Maybe I even turn them or something like that so that I start to have a sort of design going along with that. Something for you to explore and play with. I would say look back at Kehinde Wiley's paintings and see how he uses pattern behind and in front, and then make some decisions for yourself. Maybe you want 2 of these, maybe you want to erase and you only want a couple. But it's really